So as we wait to hear any news about season 9 of American Horror Story and what that season is going to be about, I always think it's so much fun to talk about all the various possibilities that season 9 could entail, or season 10, or maybe any future season past the 2 that have already been greenlit. And I know this is going to be probably the most divisive one thus far, as I put it on my community tab and a lot of people didn't seem to like the idea. But I'm asking you to come with me on this journey and let me explain how I would have done this, just in the most general sense. American Horror Story Reality, American Horror Story Alternate Dimension, or Alternate Reality, or whatever you want to name it. Tell me in the comment section below. Let's jump right into it. Hey YouTubers, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. So, as I said, this is going to be divisive. I think a lot of people don't believe the alternate reality take is something that could be genuinely horrifying and also maybe even just a little bit funny, kind of in the same line of every American Horror season thus far. I mean, I'm not really sure whether this would work or something that they would really want to do, and I understand a lot of the criticism that other television shows, other stories have done this same concept better, but when I talk about concepts that I want to see in American Horror Story, the real focus is I want to see how Ryan Murphy and his writing team approach this concept. I think it would be really awesome. I mean, yes, it's not like anyone else hasn't ever done a witch story, or maybe no one else has ever done a freak show type of narrative or something like the apocalypse. I mean, yes, we've all seen that stuff covered in so many other different forms and avenues and mediums, television shows, movies, video games, and all this other stuff. The enjoyment I get from it is just seeing Ryan Murphy and the American Horror Story team take that concept and put it in their own narrative format. So that's the best part. So I think another thing is a lot of people don't think this is scary or might really be a little bit off-putting. For anyone who thinks that alternate reality isn't inherently scary and can be used in a subtle yet very effective way, then I just implore you, go on YouTube, search up alternate reality horror stories, or just search alternate reality in general, and just listen to a couple of videos, stories that people have written, either for entertainment purposes or whether they actually believe that this happened to them or something else like that, because I can almost guarantee you that at some point during that search, you're going to start feeling a little uneasy and not really understanding the world around you. I mean, you can really get lost in this deep, deep hole of alternate reality take stories. So with that being said, when it comes to American Horror Story Reality, or whatever they end up calling this season, I think the story would be best suited with having 2 focal lead characters. 2 people who met at a very early age and end up going through this journey together. And I would have these 2 characters meeting in a school-like environment, maybe in college or some kind of graduate school, maybe more in a scientific field because we're dealing with alternate realities and maybe some pseudoscience thrown in there just for good measure. So you start building the world around you. But one of them is obviously smarter than the other, and they're the ones who are going to open up this portal to an alternate dimension or something else like that, while the other one is our main focus, kind of fish out of water character for that season. But instead of having these characters thick as thieves throughout the entirety of the season, we build their relationship within the first episode, and then we kind of go on to a much bigger time jump than what they usually give us in an American Horror Story season. You have this one person lose the other person for about 10 years. I mean, lost to the world, and then simply comes back at the end of the first episode, disheveled, completely looks different, and with really no explanation as to where they've been, or even if they understand where they are. I mean, simply horrific. Another reason I think that this is the best way to tell this story is because you want the characters and the audience as a whole to be guessing and speculating about what really is going on. Is this all in the people's heads, or have they literally opened up a portal to the other world? And at the same time, you want everyone to be guessing about what exactly that world is. When it comes to alternate realities, there's a lot of different speculations and concepts about how that would work. You have various different universes, parallel universes, simulation universes, and religious-like concepts that would really fuel the discussion for the fans and also the story as a whole. From there, we use the rest of the season to not only do flashback episodes and explain where this person was, but we also build the story forward with our focal character understanding and kind of trying to grasp everything that their friend went through, but understanding that maybe something in that reality that his friend was in is different and something that he can use, or something that he wants to experience for himself. And he himself goes into that alternate reality and experiences the horrors that his friend endured. And I understand there's not a lot to go off of there. I mean, I'm not really sure what it would be. I think one of the things you can do, probably easier than just simply having an alternate reality with slightly different takes and slightly different demeanors for everyone involved, even though I think if you do it that way, it would be far more horrific than just simply changing up the entire environment, having them go from a concrete jungle to literally being in the wilderness with strange animals, a different culture of actual human beings that aren't really actually human beings, and then you also have them speaking an incomprehensible language or something like that. That would be horrific, but maybe them going into this alternate reality and not understanding immediately that they are within that alternate reality, that they were successful in going through that portal. And now they realize that the world they're living in this alternate reality is darker and more depraved than the world that they were living in before. If they wanted to go in a little bit of a twisty direction, but also something a little bit more akin to what they've done in American Horror Story before, you could have this alternate reality not just be an alternate reality, but maybe instead of doing that, they opened up a portal to hell. And they are actually in hell, and this is what being dead feels like. So it feels really true world to them, but at the same time, they're actually being tortured for however long that they're in there, and they're trying to escape. I know a lot of people wouldn't like that, and it would be somewhat of a lie, but I mean, that would be a unique take on the whole alternate reality dimension thing. That would be an interesting story to me. Of course, as I've always said, I am not the person who writes these stories, and I can understand why this idea is divisive. Because as I said before, they've done this stuff in various other mediums through movies, television, video games, books, and everything else. Also, just the way American Horror Story is structured, it's easy to see how they would get lost in the fray and it would be more comedic than it is scary. And I think that would really turn a lot of people off. But the more and more I think about this idea, the more I like it, because it is something different. This is not something anybody has expected or really even advocated for when it comes to the future of American Horror Story. This isn't a summer camp thing that everyone's been talking about, or Shipwreck, or all these other things that fans have been expecting and even screaming for the last couple years. If these are going to be our last 2 seasons of American Horror Story, I want them to do something that genuinely surprises us and being something that we haven't really been expecting for very long. And to me, this seems like a really obvious choice, because as I said in the beginning, when you go down the rabbit hole for alternate dimension, alternate reality horror stories, you can find yourself getting very paranoid and start questioning the real world that you're really living in. And to me, that is more horrifying than just simply showing the apocalypse or trying to show any kind of devil entity or anything else like that. Guys, what are your thoughts on this? I realize that not everyone's going to like this pitch or even like this idea for a season, but I'm sure that there's a lot of creative people who have tuned into this and can share their thoughts and opinions, their creative pitches for something related to this pitch. And I hope we can have a very proactive discussion in the comment section below. At the same time, guys, I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload, be it an American Horror Story video a Walking Dead video, a Purge video, a box office video, or anything else that I cover on this channel. If you want to talk to me about any of those things, no matter what it is, day or night, if you think that you have any questions for me, then go follow me on Twitter. I am always on Twitter, and just because YouTube is set up the way that it is, it's so much harder to talk to you guys on here than it is over there. So if you want to have a legitimate conversation with me, Twitter is definitely the best place to do it. As I said, I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. It's been real.